to another Anglo-Zulu battle report. In today's battle, I will be playing against my wife and sister-in-law, Emma and Sarah, and the scenario is that the British have a supply run from the Natal side of the Buffalo River that gets caught out in the open by a small Zulu force. This small battle is fictional and it's a bit of a stepping stone towards one that I've been planning for quite some time. Emma and Sarah are up first, commanding an ambutho of Zulus each. 4 units of Zulus comprising 2 ambutho, 1 married, 1 unmarried, appear on the horizon. Keen to wash their spears in British blood, they charge a small camp and stone kraal that the British have set up as an overnight stay on a supply run to the front line. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a slow start for the Zulu units commanded by Emma and Sarah. So the first unit of unmarried Zulus have charged the kraal and they're keeping the British pinned down with hand-to-hand combat, but they're going to need a lot more support if they're going to do any damage. So other than a very small hand-to-hand action going on in the middle of the battlefield, admittedly it's been a bit of a slow start to the battle with some very poor rolling on both sides, but the Zulus really need to get up close and personal before the British turn 3 when reinforcements are going to arrive. So thankfully a little bit more movement from the other Zulu units, but still not enough to get them right up in the faces of the British. So the start of British turn 3 sees the reinforcements successfully arrive and get 3 subsequent moves, almost right up to the wagon that they can use as a barricade. The Zulus' job just got a lot more difficult, especially given their slow start. The British reinforcements haven't hung about. They've laid down some really heavy fire into those stalled Zulu units that really need to get a move on. So the Zulus have managed to move 3 units up slightly, but still not close enough to get into hand-to-hand combat. The Zulus have also lost the hand-to-hand combat at the kraal and have had to fall back, which leaves the British with 2 units who can now fire at full capacity. Heavy British fire from those Martini Henry rifles has inflicted a lot of disorder on the Zulus, which is only going to further stall their progress. So another Zulu unit managed to get into hand-to-hand combat, which is great, but they lost and they had to fall back because they failed their break test. So finally, the Zulus have got 2 units into the kraal. They're really going to hammer the British now. And they've done it. They've overpowered that first British unit, pushing them out of the kraal. This leaves the kraal open for use by the Zulus in their next turn, but they need to get up and close again into the British, because sitting back just means they're going to take loads of fire. So the unit of British soldiers on the wagon have driven back that unit of Zulus in the top right hand corner, buying themselves a little bit more time. The British have chosen not to reoccupy the kraal. They've sat back and they've stayed within the cover of the tents in their camp and are piling fire into the Zulus at short range. It may not be immediately obvious from some of the video footage, but there's been a huge number of casualties on both sides. Some units have been like 3 or 4 casualties in excess of their stamina. There's also been a huge amount of disorder, which has made progress on both sides really tough and really had an impact on the fighting and shooting abilities of both sides. As you can see here, one unit of unmarried Zulus have dashed into the kraal to occupy it and make the most of that cover. Unfortunately, just as the Zulus were getting some momentum behind their assault on camp, each British unit has destroyed one unit of Zulus. It means the Zulus are down to 50% of their numbers, and that is a British victory. The odds for this one were massively stacked in the Zulus' favours. It just needed them to get off the line a lot quicker. Unfortunately, that slow start meant they just got shot at far too much in those early stages, and they didn't put enough damage in on the British before those reinforcements arrived. As I said at the start, this is a bit of a stepping stone battle, a lot smaller than I would usually do, but I have a really big plan in progress. I'm waiting on some deliveries and it's going to be absolutely brilliant, and I can't wait to do the battle and bring you a really cool battle report, so keep an eye out for that in future. Thanks again, cheers all.